It's a beautiful day for baseball, and live from Comerica Park in Detroit, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Detroit Tigers in the final game of this two-game mini-series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner along with Oral Hershiser and Nomar Garcia-Parra. Back in April, the Dodgers and Tigers split two at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers with a win today can do the same to the Tigers. And a terrific pitching matchup today. A pair of all-stars who will be in Minnesota next week. Each has won a Cy Young along the way. Zach Greinke goes for the Dodgers, and Max Scherzer goes for the Tigers.
The two aces, a pair of them, and they're outstanding in different ways. Zach Greinke has been a pitcher his whole career, a guy who has great stuff, great location, can prepare and process a lot of information, and then makes unbelievable in-game adjustments to hitters as he reads their swing, has great athleticism, and can repeat his delivery. Has been outstanding for a long time. Max Scherzer began his career really as a thrower, has added a curveball as of last year, which won him a Cy Young. 21 victories then. Between the curveball and the changeup and the 93 to 95 mile an hour fastball, he can change speeds. He has been outstanding, and he has 10 victories already this year.
So great pitching today. There's been some great hitting of late from Matt Kemp. He's 7 for his last 9. How do you think he does it, and what makes him so good?
Well, there's been two things that have really stuck out to me. One, he's putting the ball in play. Only one strikeout in his last 18 plate appearances. And two, utilizing the entire field. He usually focuses on right center, recognizing that is strength, but he's driving the ball where it's pitched, going up the middle when it's away. Also, when it's on the inner half, he's pulling the ball. And along with his offensive ability, he's also playing superb defense, making great plays out there in left field, embracing the left field. Dodgers as a whole have been doing great offensively on this road trip. Matt Kemp, a major role in that.
Aces up on this Wednesday matinee. Zach Greinke, if ever there's been a stopper, in 46 starts with the Dodgers. He's made 20 starts after losses. The Dodgers are 17-3. Greinke and Scherzer coming up. At Comerica Park in Detroit, 76 degrees, partly cloudy skies. The Dodgers at 51-41 with a one-game lead over the Giants. The Tigers at 49-37 have a 4.5-game lead on the Kansas City Royals. And Don Mattingly has put his lineup together to face the very tough Max Scherzer. Beginning with D. Gordon at second base and Yasiel Puig in right. Hanley Ramirez, the designated hitter again today. Adrian Gonzalez at first. Matt Kemp 7 for his last 9. Ethier has enjoyed uncommon success against Max Scherzer back in the days when Scherzer was pitching in Arizona. Juan Uribe's got a 5-game hitting streak. A.J. Ellis hitting 8th. Miguel Rojas is at shortstop and batting 9th. And then there's a 29-year-old Scherzer to deal with, making his 16th start of the year, a record of 10-3, an ERA of 3.5.
Well, Max Scherzer has always have explosive pitching ability, especially at the end of his delivery. And as Oriole touched on, he's no longer a thrower, he's a pitcher. And what makes him really tough is that every single pitch comes out of the same position of his hand. Here it is, his fastball coming out, and that's one thing he's got with tremendous movement. But now it looks just like a fastball once again coming out of his hand, and then you have an off-speed changeup, a swing and miss, and then finally another one. Looks like a fastball. No, he goes to the slider. And on top of that, last year he added a curveball during his Cy Young year. Very tough, gets ahead of hitters. You don't want to fall behind of that because of that swing and miss. Tough challenge for the Dodgers today.
He's outstanding. The swing and miss stuff is near the top of the game. Francisco Liriano, number 1 in baseball. Max Scherzer, number 9. 27.6% of the time, people swing and miss at his pitches.
And at Comerica Park, he's pretty hard to beat. A career record of 41-13, an ERA of about 3.5. Good company. Max Scherzer, the 29-year-old right-hander out of St. Louis, and he will be a free agent at season's end. Clayton Kershaw will start for the Dodgers tomorrow night against the Padres. And away we go on this Wednesday afternoon. A call strike, and it's 0-1. So D. Gordon at 299. Next week, of course, he'll be in Minneapolis. He's got 101 base hits, ranks 10th in the National League. Third baseman Castellanos, like most third basemen, and on the grass for D. Gordon, who squares and takes it inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Puig and Ramirez to follow. Tigers have won 6 of 10, and even with the loss last night, the Dodgers have won 16 of their last 24. And the Dodgers thank the Oakland Athletics for their win over the Giants last night. So it's still just a 1-game lead with miles to go before they sleep. So Nomar, you were talking about the arm slot and where the ball is released out of Scherzer's hand and the various directions the ball takes. As a hitter, how do you track it?
Well, one, you can track it because it's the same release point. The problem is that it all looks like a fastball coming out of his hand, and it has different movement. His fastball has movement as well. It's not straight. He's always been that way. When he was coming out of the bullpen, it's always had some heavy movement to it. The difference between when he was in the bullpen and then as a starter is he used to be able to eliminate a number of his pitches. He had trouble with his command, so you said, okay, well, his curveball's not thrown, or his slider's not for a strike, his changeup, look for the fastball. Well, now as a starter, you can't eliminate pitches. You got to try over the course of the game to see if one particular pitch isn't working for him. But when he has them all on, it's a tough challenge.
No accident that he's 10-3 and was 21-3 last year when he won the Cy Young Award. 2 balls and 2 strikes to D. Gordon. We're just underway. Gordon works it full.
I tell you what impresses me about D. Gordon is the confidence. We talked about his confidence. He's an all-star this year. But a guy like Max Scherzer, you don't want to get behind in the count because of those put-away pitches. He's still staying with his approach. He doesn't mind getting 2 strikes on him and having the confidence that he can still put the ball in play.
Into center field, in and over is Jackson. Defensively today, behind Max Scherzer, the Castellanos, an outstanding rookie at third base. Suarez, the 4th different shortstop the Tigers have had to use this year. Kinsler having a terrific season. Don Kelly is at first. Davis, Jackson, and Martinez in the outfield, and Alex Avila is behind the plate. Here's Yasiel Puig stepping in. Puig at 305, ninth leading hitter in the league. And he takes a strike. It's 0-1. So the Dodgers off to the big start last night, and then were soundly thumped 14-5. 1 ball and 1 strike to Puig. The lights are on despite the fact that it's mostly sunny. Two and 1 to Puig.
Scherzer has worked him twice away and once inside, as we see the lights Charlie mentioned, is to balance out the lighting for the players.
Just in case the clouds get heavy. 3 and 1. About a 10% chance of rain. This time yesterday it was pouring in Detroit. Ramirez, the DH today, is on deck. After the game, the Dodgers board the charter, head home, and a 4-game series with the Padres, and after completion of play on Sunday, it's the All-Star break. Into right center field. That's going to be a base hit, and that's going to roll to the wall. Now here is Puig rounding second. Here is Puig on his way to third. The throw is not in time. Yasiel Puig with his 5th 3-base hit of the year. Once it split the seam, you just knew that Puig was going to go for 3.
Do not make the first or third out at third base, and Yasiel, understanding that little rule, took the edge coming around second as he is burning it right there, and he never breaks stride, and he can even turn his head like a sprinter winning a race out in front, making sure nobody's coming from behind.
And I'll tell you, that is huge, because that just changes the entire at-bat for Hanley Ramirez. You have a guy that we mentioned that has strikeout ability up there on the hill, and stuff that falls off the plate. I would try to separate the strike zone, leave anything down, look for something up, so you can hit it out there and possibly get a sac fly.
As well, the infield is in. Ramirez at 274 takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Hanley is hitting .301 with runners in scoring position.
I'll tell you, Brad Ausmus is already letting you know the way he feels about this game. You have his ace on the hill, Max Scherzer, and you also recognize it going against Zach Greinke. First inning, bringing the infield in.
You got 2 All-Stars having at it. Last year's Cy Young Award winner, the Dodgers' Greinke, won the Cy Young in 2009. 1-1.
Scherzer with his swing and miss stuff out there, he's going to be sniffing for a strikeout, that's for sure. And he won't mind even if he has to walk Hanley to not get the strikeout with his stuff, because he thinks he can strike out Adrian Gonzalez or get him to hit into a double play.
A ball and a strike to Ramirez, who has 40 walks and 50 strikeouts. Puig leads from third. 2-1.
So far, this at-bat, Hanley has done that. He's stuck with a plan. His first pitch was a strike, but it was a low strike. Wasn't where he was looking. He says, I'll give up on that. Also probably recognizing the same thing you're thinking, that he doesn't want to give me anything good, so I'm really going to keyhole the pitcher, and if he makes a mistake, capitalize on that.
Backhanded, and now Puig is tagged out. Some play by Suarez.
Well, with the infield in, you're supposed to freeze on a line drive or anything hit hard right there. And Yasiel gets caught leaning too much off third base as if it was going through. And Suarez does an excellent job, great field presence to recognize how far Puig got caught off there and picks him off at third.
I think if Yasiel dives back, he's got a chance to get back if he dives to the outside part of the bag because the tag was up.
And now 2 out, and Ramirez at first. And the Dodgers squander a scoring opportunity in the first inning. Into short left field, Davis coming on and makes a sliding, diving catch to end the inning. So Puig triples, thrown out at third on the infield out. Gonzalez flies to left. Davis makes a terrific play, and the momentum, albeit briefly, that the Dodgers had, the Tigers take to the dugout. Are so good. His club is 11 games over 500, 3.5 games, making 4.5 in front of Kansas City. And here's the lineup he has put together for this Wednesday afternoon. 5 of the Tiger hitters last night had 3 hits apiece, including Torrey Hunter batting third today. Jackson and Kinsler in front of him. Then J.D. Martinez has been red hot. Don Kelly, Nick Castellanos, Alex Avila, Eugenio Suarez, and Rajai Davis. The Dodgers catching a break, if you can consider that. Miguel Cabrera's been given a day off today.
And Victor Martinez, another continuous day off for him.
He may be ticketed to the disabled list. The oblique muscle continues to be a problem. And Greinke's first pitch is a call strike, and it's 0-1. So Greinke making his 19th start of the year, an ERA of 2 2/3. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, the 2 Cy Young Award winners on the mound today. Zach Greinke more of a surgeon than Max Scherzer. His fastball throws a lot straighter fastball at times. Does have a 2-seamer with some movement, but Zach is a lot more precise with his pitches.
Into right center, and that's a poke to the wall. Jackson runs very well, and he is on his way to third base, and he will make it. So Puig had a 1-out triple, failed to score in the first. Austin Jackson, a leadoff triple in the bottom of the first, his 4th 3-base hit of the year.
Well, you mentioned about that precision of Zach Greinke, looking for that ball way in, catches too much of the plate. Austin Jackson doing a good job not pulling off of that ball and staying inside. Ethier had a little trouble right here bobbling the ball out there, but despite that, Austin Jackson was thinking 3 all the way and would have made it easily, even if he caught that cleanly.
Dodgers are playing the infield back with Ian Kinsler stepping in. Kinsler is the 9th leading hitter in the American League at .304 and has 109 base hits. So the Tigers, who pounded out 20 base hits last night, wasting no time picking up where they left off. Kinsler with 11 home runs and 46 runs batted in. There were a lot of second guessers when the deal was made over the winter. Kinsler coming here from Texas for Prince Fielder. Of course, who knew that Fielder would break down with his neck? But with Kinsler, he has been everything that Dave Dombrowski had hoped for and perhaps even expected. Into left field, a base hit. Didn't take long for the Tigers to take a 1-0 lead on Kinsler's 47th run batted into the year.
Well, Nomar, you talked about how Zach Greinke missed his spot, didn't get the ball into Jackson. Well, here on Kinsler, he's trying to throw a slider or a cutter, and he leaves it up out over the plate, and it's just spinning there like a cement mixer, and that's a very easy ball to hit.
Tigers this year, when scoring first, are 28-11. The Dodgers, when the opposition scores first, are 10-26. And Torrey Hunter coming off the big night last night. Hunter with 11 home runs, 48 runs batted in. Kinsler, good base stealer, 9 out of 12. A.J. Ellis this year has thrown out only 2 of 22. Coming off a year in which he threw out 41% of would-be base stealers last year. Last year, Ellis threw out 24 out of 59. This year, 2 out of 22. Of course, AJ spent a fair amount of time on the disabled list. First with the arthroscopic surgery to the knee and then the sprained ankle. J.D. Martinez on deck. And Greinke keeping him close over at first base.
Say with Ellis with the knee and the ankle, how would that affect his throwing? Well, that base of being able to get up and have quick feet to move from behind the plate. And also, I think he's not getting a lot of help from a few different starting pitchers on the staff. I think Dan Herron and Josh Beckett have been a little slow to the plate.
One ball, one strike. Greinke, if you listen closely, you can hear him grunt, much like a tennis player upon striking the ball as he releases the ball. Greinke noticeably grunts. J.D. Martinez on deck. Here's the 1-1. But not when he throws to first base.
Keeping an eye on Kinsler. Even when Kinsler's not stealing, he's going to look like he wants to run. He plays the complete game. Set the deke up to maybe get his hitter at the plate a few more fastballs.
Here's the 2-1. Now, Greinke steps off the rubber. Greinke on the year has struck out 119 and walked only 22. In search of his 12th win. So Greinke and the Dodgers becoming preoccupied with Kinsler at first. Martinez on deck and then Kelly to follow. Your two grunts. Greinke on the way out and Hunter with the pitch on the way in.
Zach does it every pitch. Torrey does it. I thought he might have get plugged right there and got an early ouch. But Zach didn't get him.
The bark was worse than the bite. Two and two to Torrey Hunter. Dodgers trailing early. Of course, they had a 5-0 lead after the first half of the first last night. That lead didn't last long. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Torrey Hunter. And it gets past A.J. Ellis. Dodgers off to a poor start here in the first inning.
Here's a breaking ball that A.J. Ellis is unable to get his body in front of and block that. A.J. would tell you that I got to get my body in front of that better. I know that the breaking ball is coming. I know which way it's going to break, and I just didn't get my body in front of that. And it's going to go down as a wild pitch, but he'd say, listen, that's a pass ball. I need to block that for my pitcher.
3-2 to Hunter. Kinsler at second, and Hunter is out. Defensively for the Dodgers this afternoon, Uribe and Rojas on the left side of the infield, Gordon and Gonzalez on the right, Ellis behind the plate, Kemp, Ethier, and Puig, which has essentially become the everyday unit. 1 out, and J.D. Martinez coming up. Martinez having a career year. Another big night last night. In 7 games in July, he's 12 for 28. That's a .429 clip. And dating back to the 1st of June, J.D. Martinez hitting .366, 11 doubles, a triple, 10 home runs, and 27 runs batted in.
He's always had power to all fields, but in Houston he was just using one field, pulling a lot to left field. Here in Detroit on this hot streak, looks like he's using that right center gap a lot more, and it's keeping him on the ball.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Much like the way Juan Uribe turned his career around, really concentrating on going to the opposite field and then being able to stay on the breaking ball and not overuse the pull factor.
Tigers leave town, go to Kansas City after this game. The Dodgers, of course, leave town and go back home. So Brad Ausmus will lead his Chargers into Kauffman Stadium, a 4-game series. I expect Kauffman Stadium is going to be jumping. First place, or pretty darn close to it, could be at stake. And Kershaw getting ready for his start tomorrow against the Padres. Don Kelly on deck, Kinsler at second, and it's golfed off to the right and out of play.
Well, knowing Zach Greinke, that the first 2 guys get base hits. He gets a nice strikeout over there at Torrey Hunter. He's just thinking, okay, another guy in scoring position. I'm just trying to minimize the damage right now. If I can leave him stranded out there and only give up 1, give my team a chance to come back and get that run back.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Martinez. Got him. So Greinke is almost off the mat.
Yeah, this is a better located breaking ball. Remember the hanger that we saw Kinsler get the base hit on, the fastball mislocation to Jackson. Greinke made that one look like a strike and then ended up in the dirt, got him swinging.
Well, the Dodger starters collectively have been terrific all year, Ryu's performance notwithstanding. 20 games over 500, a 3.13 ERA, and the strikeout to walk ratio has been extraordinary. And Greinke to this point, including today, 121 strikeouts and only 22 walks. Kelly at 236. Cabrera started at first base last night, does the bulk of the time, but on this day game after night game, Cabrera getting the afternoon off.
Now with a right-hander on deck, 2-0 count, I wouldn't expect Zach to give in.
3-0.
got a good feel for his slider now that he struck out J.D. Martinez on. And with Castellanos on deck, he can use that in his fastball to maybe put him away. Let Kelly go stand at first.
3-1.
Strike, but very much a pitcher's pitch. He wasn't just trying to throw a get-over fastball. He was aiming for the corner, and A.J. was out there on the edge. They hit their spot.
And probably go back out there again. Why come in? Because if you're the hitter, you're looking middle in, something you can drive.
Outfield deep and straight away for Kelly. Lined into center field for a base hit. That'll score Kinsler, and the Tigers take a quick 2-0 lead. A triple by Jackson, 2 singles, Kinsler, and the RBI base hit for Kelly.
They did go back out there, Nomar, but he missed his spot. Look at A.J.'s glove, have to reach back to the middle of the plate. They were going low and away in that corner, just like they did 3-0. 3-0, they hit the spot. 3-1, they missed the spot, and Kelly made them pay.
For Don Kelly, but his 4th run batted into the year. Nick Castellanos, the outstanding rookie third baseman, stepping in. Terrific defender, 6 home runs, 31 runs batted in. And Castellanos last night. Like seemingly everybody in the Tiger lineup had 3 base hits. Tigers are the American League's leading offensive team, hitting .278.
They also coming into this game leading the major leagues with runners in scoring position, coming in at a .282, and Dodgers are actually second, right behind them in the majors at a .280 in that category.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 gone, 2 in for the Tigers here in the first. Had 25 pitches already. Greinke working a whole lot harder than he'd prefer.
Not really zoned in yet. He's made some good pitches at times, but he's thrown a lot of pitches that have missed his target by a lot.
2-2.
That's been his best pitch, that hard slider at 87 right there that looks like a fastball at the knees and then just buries. He's made some mistakes with his fastball up. He's made a mistake with a slider earlier to Kinsler to give up a base hit up, and then he's missed out over the plate to Kelly with his fastball.
Castellanos hitting about .315 since Memorial Day. Into right. Puig is there, and that will end the inning. But not before the Tigers strike with 2 on 3 hits and leave 1. We'll go to the second. Kemp, Ethian, Uribe facing Max Scherzer. First inning, in which Greinke threw 27 pitches, 15 for strikes, gave up 2 runs and 3 base hits. So what are they talking about there, Oral?
They're probably talking about the balls that were hit and where were they? Did I really miss? Because as a pitcher, you're out there, your landing leg, you throw, you see it. But sometimes as you're falling off, you don't see exactly where it is on the plate or how high it was. So you ask your catcher in between innings. They might also say, you know what, you hit your spot, or this is where we thought we were going, but we might need to adjust the plan because he looked like he was on it.
So here's Matt Kemp, who has 7 hits in his last 9 at-bats, lifting his average to 275. Kemp, Ethier, and Uribe to bat in the 2nd inning. And a ball inside, 1 ball, no strikes. And Nomar, you were talking about Kemp and his recent resurgence. He's been terrific on the road lately in the open. Let's expand a little bit on what he has done to bring about this success.
Well, a lot of times Matt Kemp recognizes that his strength is to right center and to right field. And when he was going through a bit of a slump, I think he was really trying to force it out over that area rather than just let it happen. Let the pitch dictate whether you drive it over there. They happen to come in on you, get the head of the barrel out there and turn on it. And now he seems to be doing that a lot more. He's being in a good position right now. Also early on, I thought he wasn't recognizing the pitch right out of the pitcher's hands. Sometimes he would take pitches, get a lot of check swings because he was determining what the pitch was right at release, not letting it travel, having confidence that he can let it travel to recognize the pitch. And he's doing that a lot better.
2-2. Max Scherzer, 21-3 a year ago. Cy Young Award winner. A 2.90 ERA, and opponents hit just 198 against him. This year.
So you see this one coming up and in on Matt Kemp. That's an example of what I'm saying. He was actually staying in there longer to recognize the pitch, not pulling out, trying to see it. That one just cut, and that's what you get. You get that late kind of movement out of a fastball that rides up and in, but you have to like that you're staying in there.
3-2. Kemp leading off the 2nd. First strikeout of the game for Scherzer. It's been about a month since Max Scherzer finally pitched his first major league complete game. He had been the only Cy Young Award winner, a starter, never to have a complete game until last month.
That last pitch sequence, the fastball up and in, Matt did a great job of staying in on, and then really tried to wait as long as possible, no more like you said, to recognize that slider, but it broke so late and came right out of the same window that it was a tough pitch.
Yeah, Matt Kemp was already moving as if it was a fastball, thinking that was another one in, and then he saw the break, and by then it was too late to try to get the bat on it.
Ethier's had a bit of success against Scherzer, and that was when Max was with the Diamondbacks.
When you can get the head movement and change the spine angle of the hitter like they're little leaguers, that tells you how exceptional Max Scherzer's stuff is and his deception is, because you got a big league hitter that hasn't flinched at a breaking ball hardly all year, and all of a sudden they're flinching. There's a difference.
Well, and it goes back to what we showed, at the beginning of the game. His release point and his arm motion are all the same with all of his pitches. So every time he's releasing it, right from release as a hitter, you're thinking, okay, fastball, fastball. You have to think that, and then it breaks on you.
And it's not that everyone else doesn't really look similar in their delivery for all their pitches, but he's very precise, but he's also very deceptive with that little jump that he has as he goes to throw at you. He gives the hitter different rhythms compared to the arm swing over the head compared to the release.
Into center field, drifting on back is Jackson. 29-year-old Max Scherzer, his 16th start of the year, is from St. Louis. 6'3" and 220. Came to the Tigers in the winter of '09. along with Daniel Schlereth, a left-hander. As part of a three-way deal, Edwin Jackson and Ian Kennedy would leave. And Scherzer, since coming to the Tigers, is merely 64-30.
He made quite a business decision in the offseason. He turned down a 6-year, $144 million contract and decided to self-insure himself with a third party. I don't know what the premium is on the insurance and how well he's going to pitch this year, but turned down 144 for 6. I guess he thinks he can get somewhere close to $200 million if he has another really good year, and so far at 10-3, he is.
If nothing else, you must admire his guts. And that's the fella he's going to have to deal with on the other side of the table. Castellanos picks it up, throws out Uribe, and Scherzer retires the Dodgers in succession, 5 in a row altogether. We'll go to the bottom of the second. 2-0 Tigers.
Deficit here as we make our way to the bottom of the second inning. Zach Greinke back on the hill for his second inning of work, and if there is ever a guy that you want on the hill for the Dodgers, it's this guy following a Dodgers loss, and this is why. In 20 starts since 2013, absolutely a stopper. Look at the team record, 14-2 after a loss. ERA under 2. The opponent just hitting .213 against him, and the most important fact of all of it, the team record in that time, 17-3. And while the Dodgers find themselves down right now, he's the guy you want on the hill. Gentlemen?
And since coming to the Dodgers overall, Greinke is 26-8. But he's got a 2-run deficit as Alex Avila will lead it off. Eugenio Suarez and Rajai Davis. The shift is on for Avila. And a strike, 0-1. A little confusing as Avila pronounces his last name Avila. His father and uncle call themselves Avila. So here's Alex. Taking outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Avila, Suarez, and Davis to bat. Avila last night, he didn't just get nicked with foul tips, he got beaten from stem to stern.
Of all the catchers in the big leagues, he seems to have the largest magnet as far as getting hit. I mean, over the years, he just gets beat up. He limped into the playoffs when the Tigers get there last few years.
Gonzalez, underhanded flip to Greinke.
Well, a lot of that has to do with when you have pitchers like Verlander and Scherzer who have mid-90s fastballs, tough to square up, movement, so you end up fouling those balls off, just missing them, and the catcher ends up taking the brunt of it.
Yeah. Anibal Sanchez.
Yep, Anibal Sanchez.
Guys with late movement get foul tips.
Mm-hmm. You know, Doug Fister was another one that they had there as well. He was another one that would.
A lot of foul balls.
Right.
When I had the sinker work and Mike Scioscia's and Alex Trevino, Rick Dempsey's toes would get beat up a little bit because they bottom, you get the foul tip that goes down.
Did you help them out with like a pedicure or something?
No, I just figured they'd figure it out. They'll be all right. They got padding. I would take time, rub the ball up so they could let the pain go away.
Oh, that's big of you.
But Soch didn't like that. Soch would wave his glove at you, get on the mound, let's go. I'm not hurt.
Yeah, I'll deal with this later, and I'll deal with you later.
Yeah, he didn't want any attention.
2-2 to Eugenio Suarez. Tigers with 2 in the first. And those 2 loom large based on the first 2 innings of Scherzer's work.
So would they make you take him out to dinner or anything like that? Kind of like the quarterback taking care of his linemen that block for him. Do you?
I would take him out to dinner anyway.
Oh, okay. That's nice of you.
I did some nice things for Soch, especially when he got the all-time games caught for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I went to a headstone factory and had a home plate cut out of granite and had the record put into the granite with his nickname, The Rock, at that time, and he put it in the top of his bar. So next day we had a little presentation for him.
Oh, nice.
That was pretty cool.
That was nice.
The guy making the headstones never made a home plate, so I had to take him all the measurements. He'd been pretty much cutting them in rectangles and squares.
Did you have to explain it to him?
Yeah. He was a Dodger fan.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Made me pay extra.
Rajai Davis at 286, really having one of the best years of his career offensively. He's always been a great base stealer. Has 22 of them this year. 286. He has 70 base hits and provides an element of speed to Osmus's lineup that the Tigers haven't had in a while. But you look at this Tiger lineup. Jackson's got 8 stolen bases. Kinsler's got 9. And Davis has 22. As a team, the Tigers have 57 stolen bases. The Dodgers, of course, with D. Gordon having half of their stolen bases, have 84. 0-2 to Davis with 2 out, nobody on in the second. D. Gordon, you can hear say, I got it, I got it, I got it, and he does. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Ellis, Rojas, and Gordon will bat for the Dodgers in the third. Take a road trip this summer. Before you do, come on out to Dodger Stadium tomorrow night and be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance to pick up your Dodger-themed Hello Kitty travel mug. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. So Scherzer has thrown but 32 pitches through 2. Got away with a one-out triple to Puig. Puig would be thrown out at third base as Hanley Ramirez bounced to the shortstop through a drawn-in infield. And that would be about as close as the Dodgers would come. Tigers scored 2 in the bottom of the first. 1 ball, no strikes to A.J. Ellis. Scherzer misses way outside.
That's the old Max. 3 years ago, Max, he'd throw those scuds up there every once in a while, especially with his slider. He would really spike his slider. This fastball right here, he just yanks it. The explosion, the reason a pitcher does that, he explodes before his landing foot plants. And so then, as the hips fire and the shoulders fire, they're firing against a soft front side, and there's no accuracy to it. Feels real good, but just doesn't go in the right place.
A 4-pitch walk to Ellis to open the third.
A little out of sync.
So A.J. Ellis now has 2 more walks than he has base hits.
Well, in the past with Max Scherzer, you would have an at-bat like that, and then it would really affect him. It was one where you could say, okay, he can't find it right now, guys. Force him to throw strikes. And as recently, he's been able to get back on track when he has that one. Well, let's see if he gets back on track. Dodgers really have to be smart here to see if it's going to be one of those times where he can't find it for a while.
Miguel Rojas hitless on the road trip. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. 0 for 8 on the trip. Lorenzo Bundy flashing the signs. One ball, one strike.
Max is a very, very smart on the mound, and he's a very detailed preparer and on his mechanics. He's very smart and also a very touch feel guy. And so he's had a tough time at sometimes of having paralysis by analysis, that he can really start to lose his rhythm. He's done a much better job over the last 2-3 years.
There's a strike.
You're so right, Nomar, that you had to be able to recognize as a lineup when he was going to go through those difficult times. And you have to recognize even sooner now, because those times when he's struggling are so much shorter.
1-2 to Rojas. Short lead for Ellis.
I mean, what was amazing with Scherzer is when he was coming out of the bullpen, when he was like maybe that 1 inning or 2, he was able to get away with, okay, if one pitch wasn't working, because you couldn't really recognize that as a lineup because he was just coming out for that short period of time. But when he became that starter, you could start eliminating. So it was like he would get through the lineup once and be effective, but it was that second or third time you had a chance to get to him.
Second strikeout of the game for Scherzer.
'96 with tail and a little sink, and that's the thing about Max. He does so well. We saw those fastballs ride up and in on somebody like Matt Kemp, where he gets underneath them and can ride it in on the righty and jam you. He also can get on top of it and make it go a little bit more down, so you think it's going to tail for a ball, but it stays on the plate.
Gordon flied to center in his first at bat. Tigers with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, that pitch on Miguel Rojas as a hitter is tough. When you're facing a guy with a sinker baller and you're separating the plate to get your sights up, so you try to eliminate as many swings and misses down in the dirt. That pitch is the one you tip your hat on, because for the most part it starts off with the low strike zone and then will fall out of the zone. That one just stayed there and it freezes you.
Gordon on 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. So it's conceivable D. Gordon and Max Scherzer could be facing one another next week at the All-Star game in Minneapolis.
Probably be a little later in the game, maybe like the 7th inning, 6th inning. Time D gets in there, and by the time Max gets in there.
One ball, 2 strikes.
There's what we're talking about, Nomar. The guy on the mound with good stuff and beating up the catcher with foul tips, even on a bunt. D has been so accurate with his bunting lately, being able to deaden the ball right down the third base line, getting the right weight and the right accuracy. But with Scherzer's stuff, tips that one right into Avila.
Scherzer was originally picked by the Cardinals in the 43rd round in 2003. Said 43. So he went to the University of Missouri. And then in 2006, picked in the 1st round by the Diamondbacks, the 11th pick overall. So it was a good business decision even in graduating high school. At Mizzou, he was the Big 12 Pitcher of the Year one season. Gordon slashes a single into left field. So the Dodgers have first and second for Yasiel Puig. For the Dodgers, just their second hit of the day.
Well, I talked about D. Gordon's first at bat, how he's not afraid to hit when he's behind in the count because he stays so short to the ball, and right there kind of had a finish of it. He likes the way he was short to that ball, just went the other way as that ball was tailing away from him.
So here's Puig with his 5th triple of the year in his first at bat. At 307 overall, 9th in the league. And Puig has been even better with runners in scoring position. 8th in the league at 343. Ellis, little speed at second, and Gordon's about as fast as anybody at first. Castellanos steps on the bag, fires to first, and that ends the inning. Double play as Puig. Castellanos steps on the bag, easily gets Ellis, and then fires a strike to Don Kelly. in Detroit. Join us for the next episode of Backstage Dodgers as we go behind the scenes with the staff responsible for getting the team in its best possible shape. Don't miss this new episode of Backstage Dodgers tomorrow at 5 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. So Puig triples in his first at-bat and then bounces into an inning-ending double play in his second at-bat. Top of the order for the Tigers as we go to the bottom of the third, and Austin Jackson, who began the day with a triple and scored a run. Jackson, wouldn't you know, is the only Tiger without a hit last night. Slowly hit to second. Gordon has to hurry. That's always fun to be a first baseman. The second baseman's about 10 feet away and firing a seed.
It is, and it's not an easy play. He's smiling at Adrian Gonzalez and high-fiving, but there was some spin on that ball. That ball was hit off the end of the bat, so as an infielder, you're going, okay, I know I want to charge this ball, but you're scared because sometimes it could take just one little hop because of that spin and spin away from you. So you're aware of that, you're gathering yourself, and you have a speedy runner. So all of those factors coming in, it actually was a really good play.
Ian Kinsler takes a strike. Gonzalez is about 10-15 feet away from Gordon. Oh, terrific.
But you know that because you as a first baseman know, okay, this guy's coming down the first base line. He's running hard. You underhanding it isn't going to get him out. So you're on your toes, ready for anything coming at you.
Buckle your seatbelt. 2 balls and a strike to Ian Kinsler, who singled home Austin Jackson in his first at-bat. Kinsler was 2 for 5 last night. And at the moment hitting .306, the 9th leading hitter in the league. Well, you could hear home plate umpire Ted Barrett bellow that strike call. He's the crew chief in his 18th big league season. You don't want to mess with him. He's 6'4" and 255 pounds and used to be a prize fighter. Slowly hit to short. Rojas has to hurry. And Kinsler's out by a step, 2 out. That'll bring up Torrey Hunter. Well, Greinke, of the first 11 batters he has faced, has thrown strike 1. Now let's see what he does with Torrey Hunter. Outside. 9 of 12. What does that number mean, Oral, if anything?
Well, it means a lot, I think, because getting ahead of hitters is so key in the game, and you see the numbers change completely after strike 1.
Into right. Puig is there. And a 1-2-3 inning. So now 7 in a row have been retired by Greinke after the shaky first inning. We go to the 4th with the middle of the Dodger lineup coming up.
2-0. Max Scherzer back on the hill, and the Dodgers need to get something going offensively if they want to continue the theme of this current road trip. They've been very offensive in a good way on this road trip. You can take a look at the numbers. Runs per game, nearly 6.5 runs per game. The batting average collectively over 300. The on-base percentage and runners in scoring position, a 440 average. And look at Kemp, Uribe, and Gordon combined for 429 average and 8 RBIs. Time to get something going. Hanley Ramirez at the plate.
He'll be leading it off as we go to the 4th inning. The Dodgers able to fatten up their offensive numbers up in Colorado on Sunday, 8 runs and 15 hits. And on Friday, back in Colorado, 9 runs and 19 hits. That's one way to beef up your numbers. Here's Ramirez, who takes outside.
Well, it looked like they were also going to beef up those numbers yesterday. They scored 5 in the first inning off Justin Verlander. And then the Tigers came back for their league-leading come-from-behind win.
27. The Dodgers have the fewest come-from-behind wins this year, but 10. So they've got some work to do, trailing Scherzer and the Tigers 2-0. Here in the 4th, Ramirez, Gonzalez, and Kemp will bat. A lot of folks in Detroit see this little mini series as a potential sign of things to come October. A lot of time between now and then for the Dodgers. This is their 93rd game of the year. A 1-game lead on the Giants. Tigers looking to beef up their bullpen between now and the trade deadline. And if you read the papers, the Dodgers are perhaps looking for an additional starter and maybe a bullpen piece. Here's a 3-1. Ramirez takes a walk. Scherzer has gone to a 3-ball count, and that's his second walk. 5 times in the first 12 batters of the game. So if nothing else, Dodgers might be able to beef up his pitch count and get to what has been a weak link for the Tigers this year, their bullpen. Collectively, their ERA is .439, and they rank 13th out of the 15 teams in the American League.
One piece in their bullpen that has been effective is Jabba Chamberlain, but Joe Nathan, their closer, has been vulnerable.
That's well hit off the bat of Gonzalez, but it's going to be caught by Martinez. First out of the 4th. It was fascinating the other day talking to one of the Tigers about Joaquin Benoit, who had pitched here. Now he is available, if you listen to what they say, and right out of San Diego, that he would not be opposed to coming back here. Then the question is, he's an 8th inning guy. Chamberlain is the 8th inning guy. Then you've got the conflicting egos, whatever the case may be. And Nathan has not been the lights-out closer he once was.
Well, they could take Jack, Joaquin Benoit, my nickname for him Jack, because I had him. I was his pitching coach in Texas. But Jack can pitch in the 9th, the 8th, the 7th, and I'm not sure his ego would be at the point where he would, if he was joining a championship situation and coming back here to Detroit, that he would really be worried about the role. He would just want to be part of winning.
Kemp, a strikeout victim in his first at bat. Takes low and outside. Matt at the moment 274. Tim Wallach, Kershaw. Kershaw tomorrow night starter at Dodger Stadium. Despaigne goes for the Padres. Kershaw in search of his 11th win. Kemp into left field. Davis doesn't have to move much. Just a perfectly pleasant summer's afternoon in Detroit. Partly cloudy skies, 76 degrees. And a big crowd on this Wednesday matinee. Tigers are averaging about 35,000 per game. Dodgers, of course, lead Major League Baseball in home attendance, averaging 46,000 per game. Time called for Andre Ethier, who flied to center in his first at bat. Dodgers are the only team that has drawn better than 2 million at home already this year. 2 out. Short lead for Ramirez. There's a strike. Ethier on the trip is 3 for 12. You go around? No. Paul Schreiber didn't win very many friends in the Dodger dugout last night when he was calling balls and strikes. In fact, Don Mattingly was thrown out of the game. Ball, a strike, and 2 out. That's just foul.
The other guy that they might bolster the Tiger bullpen with is a guy they signed back in May, Joel Hanrahan, coming back off of Tommy John surgery. He started his long toss program. It has not gotten to the hill yet. There's a guy who had a lot of saves back with Pittsburgh.
Came up originally with the Dodgers.
When they start a long toss program, usually what's the general timeline since that as far as returns?
Yeah, the throwing program, well, it could be another 2 months. Just depends on how many fires you put out as you continue to stress the arm.
Not unlike essentially what the Dodgers did with Brian Wilson last year. They didn't sign him until much later.
And I know there's other factors that can come in that could change that, but I'm just wondering the general timetable when you. I mean, now they have such good data because of so many of those surgeries compared to other ones.
You're usually able to pick up a ball somewhere between the 7 and 9 month range, and then all of a sudden then you see how the arm then responds, and some guys will make it back in 13, 14 months, some guys longer.
Easy hop into the glove of Kelly. Ethier and the Dodgers are retired. No runs, no hits, a walk, and a man left. And after 3.5, Greinke and the Dodgers trail by 2. And Castellanos will bat for the Tigers. Come on out to Dodger Stadium Saturday night when the Dodgers commemorate Roy Campanella night. First 50,000 fans in attendance at the game against the Padres take home a Pee Wee Reese Roy Campanella bobblehead. Compliments of United Healthcare. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Well, Greinke has settled down after a shaky beginning. Gave up 2 runs and 3 hits in the first. Since then, he has retired 7 in a row. J.D. Martinez swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Martinez a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. A most pleasant surprise for the Tigers this year, and especially over the last 6 weeks. With the other Martinez, Victor Martinez, sidelined with an oblique, they have no idea when he's coming back. It is J.D. Martinez who has really stepped up. In 7 games this month, 429, 12 for 28. Since the 1st of June, 366. So on the year, he's hitting about 330. Tonight in San Francisco, Jason Hamill makes his first start for the Athletics against Matt Cain. Cain is 1-7 with an ERA of 4.25.
They got a nice outing out of Samardzija in his first outing over there with Oakland as they've tried to bolster that starting staff.
And wasn't it Verlander that said, oh, the reason they got them was because of us?
Yep. Stepped right out there.
And nobody disagreed with him. Well, you guys now have had a chance at least to see the Tigers here in Detroit. Saw them, of course, the 8th and 9th of April. Are they of championship caliber? We have not seen the Athletics except for watching highlights on television. What is your sense of this Tiger team on 3-2 to Martinez? Well, begins the sentence with an exclamation point.
But Justin Verlander isn't the same pitcher that we saw that has taken him to the World Series, so that's one notch down compared to other championship teams they've had here. Scherzer is the same guy he was last year. That's another good thing. We've just seen those two. The bullpen is not quite in order yet where you'd say it's a championship bullpen. The offense, to me, looks a little bit better suited for the playoffs. A little bit of speed with Kinsler and Davis that's going to help them. I think that'll be important.
Now Don Kelly takes high and outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
I think with Verlander is a big question mark. I think they might have some tough choices there too coming down the stretch because Porcello, he's really, I think, been a positive for them, stepping it up. He's in that final fan voting for the All-Star game, deservingly so.
Sanchez, of course, is solid. His ERA is a shade over 3.
So usually when you go in those postseason, you're looking, okay, I'm looking at 3 pitchers that I'm going to go to, and which one's going to be the odd man out of those 4?
Yep. And it could be a pressure situation for Brad Osmus in his first year as a manager. They get into that situation where he's got a contract and a reputation, maybe not a guy who's throwing the ball at best, and Justin Verlander.
Kelly has singled to center in his first at-bat. The Athletics at the moment at 57-33 have the best record in baseball. And they pick up some margin. Hamill goes tonight. Their rotation was pretty darn good before all that. Now runner goes and is popped foul and way out of play.
Sonny Gray over there is throwing the ball really well, probably their ace or Samardzija, whatever they want to go 1-2, and then they can decide from there. But even before the trade, they were on pace to win about 102 games, and then they've strengthened themselves. And who knows if Billy Beane is finished. They look like they have their eye on going past the first round, which they are very good at getting eliminated as soon as they get in the playoffs.
Well, now they certainly have pitching depth. They've got a fistful of all-stars. And things just seem to be at the halfway point of the seasonal pass. Everything's going right for them. Sometimes you have a team that is just drenched in pixie dust, and this appears to be, at least to this point of the season, the Athletics.
Well, think about what Billy Beane is looking at. Not only does he try to build a consistent winner, but when he's deciding to go for it and spend his assets, it's in a year when Boston is down. The Yankees aren't that dominant force over there in the East. The Angels look vulnerable. Seattle is actually winning some games.
There's a line drive into center field for a base hit. So the first two runners for the Tigers are aboard in the bottom of the fourth.
There's a little more parity over there in the American League right now, where Billy might see an opportunity to convince ownership, and he is one of them, to spend some assets in the minor leagues and as far as payroll.
In the West, the Angels, while playing well, they've won 7 of their last 10. Oakland with a comfortable 4.5 game lead, 4 in the loss column. Seattle still has a pulse in that race, but the other two, Texas and Houston, not happening in Texas this year. The Tigers now have 25 hits in the series. 20 last night, 5 tonight, and not a single home run. And the Tigers as a team have 94, which ranks them 5th in the American League.
Cabrera for only 1 game, and he didn't have one. Victor Martinez not at all, so some of their power thrust is not in there. They are sure swinging a bunch of hot bats.
2 runs and 5 hits this afternoon for the Tigers after 14 runs and 20 hits last night. Ryu with his worst outing. 7 runs and 10 hits in 2 1/3 innings. And Greinke, who had retired 7 in a row, surrenders back-to-back singles here in the bottom of the 4th.
Nomar, you're a young shortstop, Miguel Rojas, and you know this would be a key situation for Zach Greinke to get a double play. Are you a little bit more nervous here?
No, you're not. You're just looking for that ball. You're hoping you're just in the right position. You've done your scouting report, but you're not more nervous here.
Castellanos with Avila on deck.
As a veteran shortstop compared to a young one, what you start thinking here is there are times where you're going, well, this might be a time where we say cheating a little bit. And what that means is I may not come across and drag my foot on second. I actually will start with my foot on second base, so I can get a little extra push off the bag to get me a little extra to first base, because I know how important this double play is in this game, at this moment of the game.
Hanley, of course, the DH today. 1-2 to Castellanos. Into left field for a base hit. Rounding third, on his way home is Martinez. Throw to the plate, and he is safe. Got underneath the tag, an RBI single for Castellanos, and the Tigers take a 3-0 lead. Dave Clark had him running all the way.
Well, you got a good pitch down and away, and you got to give credit to the hitter here, but Matt Kemp right here coming up firing, making a good accurate throw, and that foot just getting in there in time. And Matt Kemp, as he releases it, he kind of takes a little long to get release of it, just a little bit, a hair quicker. He can get that quicker release, but I know he has to gather himself, make sure he's in a good position to make a good accurate throw. But it was just a split second. It's just a hair to get that foot in to be safe.
And you see why there was no replay request. For Castellanos, his 32nd run batted in. Avila, it bounced to first in his first at bat. So 3 singles in a row for the Tigers here in the 4th. Suarez on deck, and then Rajai Davis. Kelly at second, Castellanos at first. And the 66th pitch of the game from Greinke is outside. 2-0. Al Avila, the father of Alex Avila. Al's been a long time member of the Tiger front office. Gonzalez gets the force out at second. Throw to first. What a double play. What a play by Greinke. As that play was unfolding, didn't think there was a chance in the world for the double play. Rojas with a great play at second. The throw to first. Greinke, an outstanding athlete. Greinke has not made an error since 2010, and shows why he's such a great defender.
Who really made that play was at Greinke over there at first base, getting there in time so he can get himself in position to get that foot on, not where he's getting there late. If he gets there late, he really has no chance of catching that ball, but the fact that he gets there early gives him a chance to make that play. You know,
gives
high
Rojas
risk.
too.
It's a risk reward. It's a risk reward there for the shortstop to let that fly as the pitcher's getting over there. You know, you really have to see if he's there first before you let it go, or you end up holding on to the ball because you have such a great chance to throw that ball away and then a run ends up scoring.
And Greinke, one of the really outstanding defensive pitchers in the game. He's a wonderful all-around athlete. Kelly leads off third. Low and outside.
If you're going to get there early, you got to break fast off the mound the way Zach Greinke really busted it. As soon as he sees the ground ball to his left, he leaves the mound. There's no hesitation at all, and that gave him that extra beat to be able to dive and catch that ball.
You know, for a split second, I was thinking Rojas was going to hold on to the ball, but the fact that Greinke got there that quickly, that's why he decided to throw it.
2 out. Suarez takes inside. And it's 2-1. With the loss of Jose Iglesias all year, Tigers have used 4 different shortstops, and Suarez is the shortstop of the moment. 2-2. Brad Osmus, Connecticut born and bred, Ivy League educated at Dartmouth. On 2-2. Slowly hit to short. Rojas picks it up and throws out Suarez, and that ends the inning. Tigers begin the inning with 3 hits, but they score only 1. And we will go to the 5th. They lead 3-0. Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year, and first ever back-to-back. LA is brought to you by the Ram 1500. Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion. Glad you could join us at the old ball game as we head to the top half of the fifth. Juan Uribe, A.J. Ellis, and Miguel Rojas. The bat for the Tigers. We're at Comerica Park. It's been open for business since 2000. In 1999, the final game at Tiger Stadium, which still stands, and here in town they're still trying to figure out what to do with it. Uribe swings and misses, 0-1. Uribe, a 5-game hitting streak, bounced to third in his first at-bat. Of course, everybody knows about the financial woes of the city of Detroit, but the Tigers are doing great business. Pistons, Red Wings, Lions. Now they just have to figure out how to refurbish the downtown area. The suburbs are flourishing, as is Max Scherzer so far in this ball game. Scherzer has struck out 2 and walked 2. And Uribe has been punched out. Third strikeout of the game for Max Scherzer.
Yeah, Uribe gave kind of a look down there that he thought he knew he went pretty far on that one. He had really no argument, was not shocked when the first base umpire said he went.
A.J. Ellis has walked in his only plate appearance. A.J. has now 27 walks on the year and 25 base hits. His on base percentage flirting with 400. So the Dodgers take 3 out of 4 in Colorado. Get beaten to a pulp last night and are trailing 3-0 this afternoon in Detroit. Outside. Mark McGwire looking on. Dodgers third in the league in runs scored. Second in the league in batting average and hits. And they've been awfully good runners in scoring position. Kemp's been hot of late, not so much today. And D. Gordon is on his way to Minnesota. Miguel Rojas is on deck. 2-2, and the Dodgers have 2 hits today. And Scherzer has 4 strikeouts.
I'm telling you, watching Max Scherzer, the difference of the Max Scherzer that we've seen the last few years compared to early Max Scherzer is, we talked about it, how if he had that moment of lapse where he couldn't find his mechanics, it took him a while to find it. Well, it hasn't taken him long at all in this game. After he had that leadoff walk the last inning to Hanley Ramirez, he settled down, found it, and he looks like he's hitting his spots now with his pitches.
Miguel Rojas, hitless in his last 10 at-bats, took a call third strike back in the third inning. Into left field, that's well hit. It's on its way, and it is gone. Miguel Rojas with his first major league home run. The Dodgers are on the board. It's 3-1. Miguel Rojas, home run number 1, and his 6th run batted in. Congratulations, Miguel Rojas. Now somebody's going to have to go get the ball back.
No, you're right. He got Uribe with a sweeping slider. A.J. Ellis finished him off with a fastball, but this fastball was a mistake.
Yeah, the one mistake that went over the middle of the plate, Miguel Rojas staying on it, squaring that ball up, and I'm just hoping that nobody in the Tigers bullpen has thrown that ball over into the stands and they can get that ball back. Actually, that's in the Dodger bullpen, so fortunately, hopefully the guys in the Dodger bullpen, they should know that that's his first home run and holding on to it.
Or they'll play a trick with him and say they threw it up there,
Yeah.
but they really didn't. They'll give it to him later.
D. Gordon to short. Suarez will throw him out, and that'll end the inning. But Miguel Rojas with his first major league home run. Dodgers are on the board. We'll head to the bottom of the fifth. Tigers lead 3-1. A grand total of 13 home runs. He had 5 at AA Chattanooga last year, and he hit his first big league home run in the top half of the fifth to bring the Dodgers to within 2. Rajai Davis will lead it off in the fifth, but it was in the first he made a terrific catch, robbing Adrian Gonzalez, and that was worthy of a look on our Carl's cam. Davis, first pitch, fair ball. And he can fly, so he is on his way to second base. So Davis, with his 14th double of the year, begins the bottom half of the fifth.
Well, so far for Zach Greinke, all the pitchers will tell you that important out is that very trying to get the leadoff batter out. And this is the third time in 5 innings that the Tigers have been able to get that leadoff runner on.
Well, when they did in the first inning, they scored 2. And when they did in the fourth, they scored 1. So the Dodgers are back to within 2. And Greinke and the Dodgers certainly want to hold serve here after getting a run back in the top of the fifth on the Rojas home run. Jackson, a triple, and has bounced to second today. Uribe about even with the bag at third. Jackson at 243 with 3 home runs and 24 runs batted in. Davis, an exceptional base runner with great speed. Nothing in 2. That hurt.
I don't think the expletive was for getting hit. It was Zach Greinke, I think, talking about missing his target again, all the way across the plate.
No balls and 2 strikes to Austin Jackson with Ian Kinsler on deck. There goes Davis. Pitch to safe at third. Pitch to Jackson. Was outside. And so there's Rajai Davis with his 23rd stolen base.
Well, Davis has been sizing up the pitches before, was sizing up Greinke, trying to see, okay, when's a good time I can go get that late kick. Goes on a good pitch, difficult for A.J. Ellis because he had to reach for it and then come up throwing.
Davis stole 45 bases last year. Infield is forced to come in. Jackson is down on strikes. First out. 4th strikeout for Greinke. Again, we're mentioning the difference between A.J. Ellis of last year, when he threw out 24 of 59, 41%. Now he has thrown out 2 of 23, which is about 8%.
It was a tough combination on that one for A.J. with the breaking ball away, as Nomar pointed out, and the Davis got a good jump off of Zach.
Infield remains in for Ian Kinsler. 1 hop to short. Rojas freezes Davis, throws to first, 2 out.
A little momentum shift right here. Zach can get out of this inning. Really almost a give and run that the Tigers get a man on third and no outs. And then all of a sudden turned it into nobody scores. The Dodgers might be able to hit the dugout with a little momentum, feeling like the offense doesn't have to climb out of a big hole.
Especially after that last half inning where Rojas, they got a home run, puts him on the board, and you recognize there's still a lot of game left where I just have to just play that next inning for that 1 run.
Puig, Ramirez, and Gonzalez will hit for the Dodgers in the 6th. And it looks like Greinke's out of it. Rojas throws out Hunter. Good job by Zach Greinke after the leadoff double, a stolen base. He strikes out Jackson, gets Kinsler and Hunter to bounce to short. Game, the Dodgers head home, so it's time to take a look at the upcoming schedule in our Dodgers calendar, brought to you by 76. It'll be the Padres in for the final 4 before the All-Star break. Tomorrow night at 7:10, Despaigne and Kershaw, Hahn and Herron on Friday night, Ian Kennedy and a pitcher to be named later. On Saturday, Tyson Ross, Hyun-Jin Ryu on Sunday. It may be Mahalam. It may be Red Patterson being called up. A lot of that will be determined between the end of this game and through Friday night. If Mahalam is not used today or tomorrow, it would appear as if he would be the one starting on Saturday. Of course, Josh Beckett on the disabled list. And yesterday, Pedro Baez was called up to take his place on the roster. So here's Puig leading off the sixth. Tripled in his first at-bat and then bounced into a double play. Scherzer now at 75 pitches as we enter the sixth inning.
In between innings, I was watching Max Scherzer warm up, and he looked very relaxed. He was catching the ball back from the catcher, kind of flipping it out of his glove, barehanding it, getting back on the rubber. Very rhythmic, making all his pitches and hitting all his spots. So this is an inning where he's feeling good about himself. Let's see how he executes.
He's got a 3-1 lead to work with. 1-2 to Puig. Couple of all-stars facing one another. Seven all-stars in uniform here at Comerica Park this afternoon. Kershaw and Greinke, of course, Gordon and Puig. Scherzer, Cabrera, and Victor Martinez representing the Tigers. Drilled into left field for a base hit. That's going to roll to the wall, and now Puig's got a triple and a double this afternoon. A leadoff two-base hit in the sixth inning.
The Red Wings play down the street, but Yasiel looked like he had skates on there after he rounded second. That little slip. Boy, did he hit that ball hard. I think he hit a changeup off of Scherzer.
Well, the ball's on the outer half. I'll tell you what, Yasiel leaning out in front and still pulling that ball. In his last at bat, he stayed inside and drove it to right center for the triple. But there's that double. There's that slip you were talking about from Puig. He never makes it boring, does he? But now the Dodgers 4 hits have hit for the cycle as a team. And this is important right here. You talked about that last inning, Charlie, about the momentum. Zach Greinke being able to get out of it. He got out of that. They've got to run that last inning. Now it's time to just chip away. Still a little ball game. As long as they can get one run right here, still keep the momentum in their favor. But for the Dodgers right now, it's about situational hitting and knocking in that runner.
Ramirez 0 for 1 and a walk. One ball and one strike. Gonzalez on deck. And so they've got the middle of the order here at a glorious opportunity to get back to within at least one. Now, a slugger like Hanley, conventional wisdom, or at least average players, you want to hit to the right side to advance the runner. In a case of Ramirez, is that first and foremost in his thought process up there or not?
Well, he's thinking about knocking it in. That's what his thought process is.
Some play by Avila.
And you're thinking, yeah, I know it's a chance to move him over. You're trying to think, what are your strengths right now? Is my strength about pulling it? But a guy like Scherzer, staying inside the ball is not a bad approach. So sometimes there's this situation where you're thinking, okay, man on second, I want to move him over. It gives me in the right approach that I need to be in. So it's almost, I am thinking right center or I'm thinking right field, but if I react and pull, that's okay because I want to knock him in.
Now 3 balls and a strike. Scherzer at this point has struck out 4 and walked 2. If he walks Hanley, Gonzalez comes to the plate as the lead run. Three and two.
Threw Hanley a 3-1 slider in his last at bat when he walked him. This one, the 3-1 slider again. He gets the called strike. Might have been even a curveball.
Had Hanley vacating the premises. So this potentially is a very important pitch in this game.
Well, Hanley battling with himself. After you feel like you're bailing out as a hitter, you're going, okay, I'm really going to make sure I stay in there on this next pitch. And sometimes you get mad at yourself and you end up maybe going after a pitch you wouldn't necessarily go out. So you got to stay within yourself and stay in on this ball.
Time called. Hanley is 0 for 7 in his brief encounters over the years with Scherzer. Three runs, 7 hits for the Tigers, 1 run and 4 hits for the Dodgers. Beat him with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, knee high.
Well, as I mentioned, in your head, you're thinking, he's already thrown me some off-speed pitches in hitters' counts. There's a 3-2. He'd probably come back with it with the base open, but he just challenges Ramirez with a fastball right down the middle. And Hanley just swung right underneath it.
Well, that's a big first out. Puig is still at second. And Gonzalez 0 for 2, robbed of a base hit by Davis in his first at-bat and flied to right in his second at-bat. High and outside. These two teams, the Dodgers and the Tigers, are 1 and 2 in the major leagues hitting with runners in scoring position this year. Tigers at 282, the Dodgers at 280. And since the 1st of June, the Dodgers are hitting 3 1/4 with runners in scoring position.
Well, I think this is big right here for the Dodgers. You get that leadoff double, you get that man in scoring position. We're getting close and getting to those last 3 innings of the game. You're pecking away. And if Scherzer is able to get out of this and the Dodgers don't get a run here, it really puts the momentum back in their favor.
Gonzalez to second. Kinsler with the backhand. Puig goes to third, 2 out.
A big time pitch right there. Adrian Gonzalez saw 2 pitches, both fastballs on the outer half of the plate. With Suarez bluffing back Puig, there was a big hole on the left side, and I think Adrian was trying to hit the ball to the left side, but it ends up being a 2-0 changeup, which gets him out in front, and he hits the ball to second. If that's the fastball, he's hitting that right in that hole left field in the 6th hole. A big time pitch, taking some velocity off and forcing him to pull it.
Now it's up to Matt Kemp, 0 for 2 today. Had come into the game 7 for his last 9. Base hit here, and the Dodgers are back to within 1. Nothing in 1. Kemp with runners in scoring position this year, 257. 8 home runs and 34 runs batted in. Puig today has tripled and has doubled, and he is 90 feet from the plate with 2 out. Oh and 2.
Well, he gets him swinging on the first pitch, and on the second pitch, he just keeps going off farther off the plate to get him going. So right now, you have kind of Matt Kemp in swing mode. There's no need to give him anything here on this pitch.
There are at times that Scherzer's breaking ball is tight, and then there's times like the last one where it's very slurvy, slider and curve together.
0-2 to Matt Kemp. Ethier is on deck. Puig's leadoff double in the 6th. He's at third with 2 out. Tigers in the bottom of the 5th had a leadoff double, failed to score. The Dodgers a leadoff double in the 6th, and to this point have not scored. And will not score. Scherzer strikes out 2 after the leadoff double by Puig. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. Correction, no runs and 1 hit. 1 man left. 3-1 Tigers. All-star pitching matchup today. Both fellas are going to be in Minneapolis next week, and they are putting on an all-star performance today. Tigers 3 runs and 7 hits. The Dodgers 1 run and 4 hits. J.D. Martinez has one of the 7 Tiger hits. Don Kelly and Nick Castellanos will follow. Greinke a shaky first inning. Got into and out of a world of hurt in the 4th. Greinke now at 81 pitches. Martinez has struck out and singled to center and scored a run. 2 for the Tigers in the 1st, 1 in the bottom of the 4th. A Rojas home run for the Dodgers in the 5th. 1-2 to J.D. Martinez. Dodgers with a glorious opportunity to score a run in the top of the 6th after the Puig doubled to left. But Ramirez would strike out, Gonzalez would ground out, and Matt Kemp would strike out. And if Matt Kemp never sees Max Scherzer again, it'll be too soon. He's 0 for 21. He's been struck out twice today. This can be an awfully humbling game.
It sure can.
Kemp came in 7 for 9. And Scherzer has taken his milk money today. 2-2 to J.D. Martinez. Two balls and two strikes. Chopped foul as Dave Clark, third base coach of the Tigers, had a pretty fair country shortstop is the first base coach, Omar Vizquel.
He was okay.
Easy for you to say.
He was, no.
He can play shortstop without a glove.
Yes, he was.
That's how good his hands are.
And one of the good people in the game.
Yeah, was always smiling out there, always having fun, because the game was too easy for him, Charlie. I mean, it really was. Or, I mean, he played behind you, and I mean, just to see that guy behind you and go, wow, yeah, watch these hands at work.
In the year that Jeff Kent was traded from Cleveland to San Francisco for Matt Williams. So Matt goes to Cleveland, and he was in the midst of a divorce, if I recall. He was in Cleveland with his young kids, and going from San Francisco to Cleveland is, well, jarring. And it's early in the season, and Matt didn't know very many folks there in Cleveland. And Omar Vizquel befriended Matt and said, come on, you and your kids, we're going out today on an off day. 3-2 to Martinez. Lined into the glove of Uribe, 1 out of the 6. So they don't know where they're going. They get into Omar's car with Omar's kids. They go to an amusement park, which was closed, but Omar knew the owner, opened the amusement park up just for the Vizquels and the Williamses. That tells you all you need to know about Omar Vizquel. And there weren't very many better defensively in his generation.
When the Tigers were having all these shortstop problems this year, they actually asked Omar to come out of retirement, and he said no. He's a great contemporary artist and one of the snappiest dressers you'll ever see, too.
I mean, I watch the Tigers take batting practice, and Omar Vizquel would be out there at second base, you know, just catching the balls for the guys who are working on their double plays.
Gordon's going to have to hurry. 2 gone.
Nice play by Gordon there, showing off his athleticism as we're talking about Omar Vizquel. I'm sure he'd be proud of that play by D. Gordon, charging in hard, knowing that he's got to get rid of this ball quickly. Notice that he had the hands together there when he fielded it, so we can get that quick release right there and just making a good throw to first base. But Omar, as he's catching the ball around, even as a coach right now, his hands are still so smooth, so pretty to watch, so quick.
He would catch fly balls behind his head, not with the glove behind his head. And you would think, what a showboat. But no, he could do so much. I always, you know, when you and A-Rod and Jeter and Omar, A-Rod, I always thought he should have been the 4th horseman. Maybe couldn't hit the way the other 3 could. But boy, he sure could play. And when he first came up, couldn't hit very well. Became a much better hitter, not unlike Ozzie Smith. Very similar career trajectory.
Well, I always say there was 3 things I just wanted to experience once: to have know what it felt like to run like Jose Reyes, and I put D. Gordon in that category. I want to know what it feels like to run like that. 2, to have the power of Stanton just once, and just once to be able to feel the ground ball like Omar Vizquel. Feel those hands just once. Yeah. I mean, those are the 3.
So you got 90% of all those tools, huh? and you're complaining.
I mean, his hands. I mean, Omar Vizquel's hands were just.
Yeah, but 99.9% of the audience and the world wish they had your hands.
Castellanos on 2-2. Did he go around? Nope. Will Little, first base umpire, with the safe side. Castellanos is 1 for 2. Avila is on deck. Greinke's 97th pitch of the game upcoming. And Castellanos lives to see another one. Avila on deck is 0 for 2. Just a perfect summer's afternoon baseball game. 76 degrees at game time. Nice big colorful crowd. Terrific pitcher's duel. And Castellanos is out. That's the 5th strikeout for Greinke. He retires the Tigers in order. The Dodgers have 3 innings left and 9 outs to figure out how to come up with a couple of runs or more. 3-1 Tigers. On a perfect summer afternoon, Comerica Park is where we're coming from on this Wednesday, July 9th. A reminder, you like to listen to your music everywhere you go, then be sure to head out to Dodger Stadium this Sunday when the Dodgers take on the Padres at 10 after 1. The first 40,000 fans take home a portable speaker courtesy of State Farm. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Sure looks good and entirely too fat. Bon appetit. Greinke and his mentor, Rick Honeycutt. As we enter the 7th, Greinke has thrown 96 pitches, 62 for strikes. And for Max Scherzer, first pitch of the 7th will be his 92nd. Ethier takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Andre today is fly to center and bounced to first. Tigers 3 runs and 7 hits, had 2 runs and 3 hits after 1. The Dodgers to this point have left 4 men on. Their only run of the game, Miguel Rojas, his first big league home run. He's due to hit 4th here in the 7th. Got under it, did Ethier. And now drifting on back is Torrey Hunter. Now Juan Uribe's got a modest 5-game hitting streak, but 0 for 2 this afternoon. Bounced to third and struck out swinging. Uribe has had a solid and consistent season for the Dodgers. Takes a strike, 0-1. Missed 34 games with that hamstring. But really, since coming back, has shown no ill effects.
Stan Conte did a nice job with his hamstring and really holding him back. Remember, at first it was a tweak, and then it went to a full-blown pull, and he had to go on the DL. They made sure.
Hunter sprinting in. Spacious foul territory, makes the catch.
Well, Max Scherzer now at 90.
That's J.D. Martinez.
Max Scherzer now at 97 pitches, and you think, well, once he gets to 100, he'll be out of there. Well, in 11 of his 18 outings this year, he's gone over 110 and over. So he might have another inning in him.
So Martinez playing in right field today. Hunter is the DH. 2 out, and A.J. Ellis coming up. Ellis has walked and struck out. Dodgers have been held to 1 run and 4 base hits. This is a Dodger team that on the road trip coming into the game averaging about 6.5 runs per game and a .301 batting average.
And I still go back to that last inning where you have that leadoff double and unable to get the run across. Because, yeah, it really changes the whole dynamic of the game going into those later innings when it's just a 1-run lead. And when we talked about earlier about this Detroit bullpen.
Just to our right. And the Tiger bullpen has been vulnerable this year. Scherzer this season and today has been lights out. As Ellis finds out the hard way, second time he's gone down on strikes, 7 strikeouts on the afternoon for Max Scherzer. 7th inning stretch, 3-1 Tigers.
deficit. Zach Greinke back on the bump for Los Angeles. Yasiel Puig back in right field behind him on defense. And, of course, Yasiel Puig, a participant in the 2014 Home Run Derby, as picked by Captain Troy Tulowitzki. And here are the participants in the National League. Of course, you have Tulo, Todd Frazier of the Reds, Yasiel, and Giancarlo Stanton. Of course, Nomar Garcia wants his power. On the American League, Bautista, Brian Dozier, Adam Jones, and Yoenis Cespedes, the fellow Cuban. So there's 2 remaining spots, guys, in the Derby, and they will be announced tomorrow. So who do you think you guys would fill those spots with?
Tough one. Would I fill those spots with right now? How about? Did they have Abreu for Chicago?
He's hit a few.
Yeah. He's won American League. Just be fun to watch.
The American League side, was Cruz on the list yet?
Cruz wasn't on the list. I don't think I saw him on the list.
Leading the league. 28 home runs over there.
You mentioned Abreu's right behind him, right? 27.
Evan Gattis would be a little bit kind of fun, but I don't think he's an all-star, so that's not going to work.
Isn't number 2 and isn't it Rizzo? Is he Rizzo number 2 in the National League in home runs? But he's possibly that final vote as well.
Right.
Avila is 0 for 2. Greinke delivers a strike. And it's 2-2. Avila, Suarez, and Davis to bat in the 7th inning. Greinke at 102 pitches. Bullpen activity as Jabba Chamberlain, who has become Brad Oswald's 8th inning guy. Greinke strikes out Avila. That's a 6th strikeout of the game.
Nice off-speed pitch here by Zach. Takes a lot off his curveball and really gets him out in front. It's one thing to take speed off. It's another thing to take speed off and still get a sharp break. You've got to really let the ball slip and pull the front.
Greinke threw 107 pitches in his last start last Thursday. And that was his 104th, the most he's thrown in a game this year. 117 against the Rockies on June 17th back at Dodger Stadium. Suarez is 0 for 2. Two and 0 to Eugenio Suarez. Looking ahead to the Dodger 8th. Miguel Rojas, then the top of the order, D. Gordon and Yasiel Puig. Two balls and 1 strike to Rojas. I'm sorry, to Suarez. Two and 2. Dodgers won the first 3 of 4 on the road trip up in Colorado. Got rocked last night. Dodgers began the day a game in front of the Giants, and the Giants have been struggling. For Greinke, 3 strikeouts in a row and 7 in the game. There's 2 out.
He's done a nice job, especially with the bottom of this order. They're now 2 for 11, the last 4 hitters. Last night they were 9 for 16. The Tigers really hit as a unit yesterday, and up and down the lineup were getting hits. But Zach has been able to shut down the bottom of the order.
Davis has doubled, stolen a base, and popped to second. He did not go around. Tonight in San Francisco, Jason Hamill making his first start for the Athletics against Matt Cain. The Giants now just 8 games over 500. On June the 8th, San Francisco was 42-21, 9.5 in front of the Dodgers. Since then, they've gone 7-20. The Dodgers have won 16 of their last 24. And so from a 9.5 game deficit to a 1 game lead. So the Giants host the A's tonight and tomorrow. Well, the Dodgers finish up the season, at least to the All-Star break, with 4 with San Diego. After the Giants play the A's, they've got the Diamondbacks. And then intermission.
The loyal Dodger fans, you could really see who the optimists and who the pessimists were back when the Dodgers were out 9.5. Pessimists were all like, oh, I don't know about this team. Could be just a bunch of overpaid guys and it's not put together well. And the optimists were like, no, the pitching's too good. The bullpen's going to be too good. The offense will come around. They'll start catching the ball.
Well, like last year, the Dodgers got hot when they were trailing by 9.5.
They were just waiting for that. Just
playing the season on the outside lane. 4 strikeouts in a row for Zach Greinke. He's got 8 on the game. The Dodgers trail by 2 as we head to the 8th. So Greinke, a solid performance today, but Dodgers trail by 2 runs. Play of the day, and it came in his last at-bat in the 5th inning with his first major league home run. That off Max Scherzer. Scherzer's day is done, and what a performance for him. But this is a day that Rojas will never forget. His first big league home run. Here's Jabba Chamberlain having a solid season with the Tigers. He has really nailed down the 8th inning responsibilities, an ERA of well under 3, and opponents hitting .230 against him. Life after New York.
He's really improved his breaking ball. He's made it a little bit bigger. It's gotten slurvy, and you know what? With the weight gain, he's actually gained his velocity back. Talk to some of the biomechanic people, and the heavier you are, the easier it is for you to throw because of the force, the ground force that goes into your striking foot and comes up through your body. So It's a little easier to throw hard for some of these heavier guys when they get their weight back. And they're not in as good a shape as when they're thin.
Now you tell me.
Way to go, Oral. You're going to have a lot of young pitchers out there. See, I need to stuff my face if I'm going to pitch.
No,
but that's not what you're saying.
No, but it's just, you can still throw it both weights, but it's just easier when you're a little heavier.
So here's Rojas against Jabba Chamberlain. Rojas, who homered for the first time in his big league career, squares to bunt in his next at bat. 1 ball, no strikes. Gordon and Puig to follow, then Hanley Ramirez. Tigers 3-1. 1-1. Last night, the two teams combined for 19 runs and 27 hits, and today, 4 runs and 11. Of course, the Tigers had most of the runs and most of the hits last night. Kershaw starts tomorrow night, and Ryu with his worst performance last night. Friday night, Saturday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night at Dodger Stadium, and then Sunday afternoon.
Right now for the Dodgers, they really can go into this inning with two attitudes. One is, well, we had our chances over there in the 6th and we blew it, and kind of go on a lull, and hopefully we can get something going. Or rather, the latter is to say, listen, Scherzer's out of there. We got new life here, new pitcher. Let's go out there. Let's attack, get in our game, because we're still in this game.
And you got 2 leadoff hitters in front of Yasiel Puig, number 2 in the order, on the normal order, but now with Rojas up there and then D. Gordon, he's in the 3-hole this inning. Set the table for the big guy.
3-2 to Miguel Rojas. Takes a call, strike 3, and he do it.
With the addition of the bigger breaking ball, Jabba Chamberlain drops a 3-2 curveball on him. He's not quite as predictable as he used to be with just a fastball slider and trying to be a power pitcher. Now he's more of a complete pitcher, even though he's in a short roll. Uses all 4 pitches now: fastball, slider, curveball, and change.
D. Gordon is the hitter. Gordon is 1 for 3. High and away, 1 ball, no strikes.
I mean, and Castellanos over there at third base is really far in right now. He's really taking away everything, as much as possible, against D. Gordon.
There's a strike. I can't help but wonder, Jobber Chamberlain came to New York, A, with the name, B, great expectations, C, from Nebraska. I can't help but wonder if somehow he was swallowed up by New York the last couple of years, an ERA of nearly 5, a city obviously of great expectations, and he has come to Detroit as having one of the best seasons of his career. Because again, the other thing I was thinking about it the other day, Brian McCann struggling in New York. Terry Pendleton, his old coach in Atlanta, said, you know, maybe New York is just too big for him. 2-2.
There's definitely something about the culture you're around when you're a player on a daily basis. Do you have your family with you, or is it a city that is too far from where the family is? Are the kids in school so you're separated? Are the kids close because you've made it your off-season home?
Up the middle and intercepted by Chamberlain. Two out.
Well, D. Gordon taking it right back up the middle, and just unfortunately for him, Jabba more almost protecting himself that he doesn't get hit with that ball. He's able to get the glove on it and snag it. If he doesn't get that glove on it, that's up the middle for a base hit.
Or Chamberlain's drinking soup for a month. Here's Puig with 2 out. Yasiel a triple and a double today. He has also bounced into a double play. 2 out in the 8th. Puig at 308. Not shy about that swing. Well, whatever Puig does in the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby, one thing is almost certain. It's going to be entertaining. Talking to a bunch of the Tigers writers for the game today, all just oohing on about that throw that he made last night. One and 2. So Chamberlain 6'2" and 250-ish. Two out in the 8th. The Tigers lead by 2. Hanley Ramirez on deck.
Job of Chamberlain came back from Tommy John surgery, decided to ink it up in a way to make it a smiley face, the scar. He's got some other designs on his arms, but since the doctor had to redesign his ligament, he decided to redesign the scar. I wonder if his nickname now is Forrest Gump.
Yeah, life's a box of chocolates. Chamberlain strikes out 2 of 3. Puig to finish off the top of the 8th. 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. All-Star voting isn't quite over yet. You can vote for the final player for each league roster until tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. Go to Dodgers.com and cast your All-Star game final vote for the final 2 All-Stars for the game in Minnesota. Vote at Dodgers.com or on your mobile phone. Here's Brandon Lee. After 7 solid innings for Zach Greinke, but he leaves the game on the losing side of the ledger. And Brandon Lee What a comeback season he has had, considering what he went through last year. By this time last year, he had been demoted from the closer's spot and really struggled the rest of the way. Began the year slow start, but then something kicked in, whether it was mechanical adjustments, attitudinal adjustments. Adjustments were made. He's got an ERA of just a shade over 2, and he has been terrific this year. Austin Jackson leads off. First pitch is rocketed toward left field, right on cue, a ground rule double. For Jackson, who had no hits last night, he has now doubled and tripled on this Wednesday afternoon.
Well, the key for Brandon League is always to keep that ball down in the zone, and that ball was going down. I think Austin Jackson did a good job getting the barrel of the bat out there in front to pull the ball there. And now with the runner on base, it's even more imperative for Brandon League to make sure he stays down in that zone.
Ian Kinsler, and the Dodgers can ill afford to give up a run here. Goes to the right side, and Gonzalez throws to third, and he is safe. Ball dropped by Uribe, a risky play, and now the Tigers have first and third and nobody out.
Well, this was a very risky play. I mean, Gonzalez ranging to his right, and he sees the play in front of him thinking he has a chance, but really only if, instead of throwing off the run, which is a hard throw to make across the diamond there, he wasn't going to be able to gather himself and make a good strong throw. He's better off gathering himself and just making sure he gets the out at first.
Across the diamond and across his body.
Well, you had two things going. That ball wasn't hit really hard because it was jammed on Kinsler, and you also have a speedy runner in Jackson going over to the third base.
Dodgers have to bring the infield in for Torrey Hunter, who takes a strike, 0-1. Tigers with a 3-1 lead. Hunter is 0 for 3. Hunter was 3 for 4 last night. That's going to score a run as Ethier's camped underneath it, and Jackson will come in on the sacrifice fly, and the Tigers take a 4-1 lead. For Torrey Hunter's 49th run batted in on the sac fly.
Nice situational hitting from the Tigers after the double by Jackson. Kinsler hits the ball to the right side, and then Torrey Hunter gets a ball he can elevate to center field and drives the run in.
Now the Dodgers are down by 3. J.D. Martinez coming up. Martinez 1 for 4 and a run scored today. Outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes.
That extra run this inning is really a big run because you're in the heart of the Dodger order next inning against Joe Nathan with Ramirez, Gonzalez, Kemp, and Ethier. Uribe then also. All of them have power, so if one guy would have got on, a blast would have tied it up. Now they're going to have to get 2 on.
And the Tigers this year, when leading after 7, are 42-3. Tigers scored 2 in the first. The Dodgers have been chasing after them ever since. Dodgers now have bullpen activity. J.P. Howell loosening up. And so Brandon League gives up the leadoff double to Jackson. Goes to third on the fielder's choice, and Hunter comes in to drives in the run with a sac fly, driving in Jackson. On this Wednesday afternoon in the Motor City, 36,462 are watching this game. It's been a sunny, pleasant midweek summer's day. 2-2 to Martinez with Don Kelly on deck. J.D. Martinez, born in Miami, lives in Fort Lauderdale. Was a non-roster invitee to the Tigers. And now he's having a year of his life. Broken back grounder to second. Rojas has only one play because Kinsler was off and running with a pitch. 2 out. That'll bring up Don Kelly. Some good situational hitting. Osvis has the runner going. And the Tigers get the little things done. A sacrifice fly here in the 8th, producing the 4th big run. So Kelly's going to be intentionally walked. That'll bring up Castellanos. Back to the top half of the 6th then.
Don Mattingly choosing to go after the righty instead of the lefty, and really treating that runner on second as the differential run.
They get back to the top of the 6th. Puig the leadoff double, and that may have been the turning point of the game. Momentum breaker as Puig is at second base. Ramirez struck out. That was huge. And then Gonzalez would bounce to second. Kemp would strike out. This was after the Dodgers had moved to that point within a couple of runs.
The Tigers the inning before had a man on third and no out and did not score. Zach Greinke pitched out of that. The inning before that, Rojas had gone deep and really kind of shifted the momentum of the game, made it 3-1, and then the double comes and they just couldn't keep it rolling.
Since then, the Dodgers 0 for 9. So that was, barring something in the 9th inning, their last best chance.
And once you make this game a 1-run game, especially at that point of the game, it really changes the whole dynamic. It puts a lot of pressure on the managerial decisions. It puts a lot of pressure on the pitchers that they have to feel like they have to be perfect, because it's one swing that can tie the game as compared to 2 swings that it takes.
2 balls and a strike. Tigers 4 runs and 8 hits. The Dodgers 1 run and 4 hits. 2 on and 2 out for the Tigers in the 8th. Grounded to third. Uribe flips it across the diamond, and that will end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, sacrifice fly. Dodgers last licks. We go to the 9th with Ramirez, Gonzalez, and Kemp coming up against Joe Nathan.
Game top of the ninth. Joe Nathan on to close this one out for the Detroit Tigers, but he will have to go through the heart of the Dodgers order. Ramirez, Gonzalez, and Kemp, and then tomorrow it is appointment television. Once again, every fifth day, Clayton Kershaw takes the hill once again for LA against the Padres. A 4-game set. Game 1, he last pitched on Friday against the Rockies, allowing 2 hits and 8 scoreless innings, recording his 10th win of the season. It was a 9-0 Dodgers shutout victory. He now has 36 consecutive scoreless innings, the longest streak in the majors this year. Third longest single season run in franchise history, behind, of course, Don Drysdale and our own Orel Hershiser. And Orel, you think he's going to break it?
I hope he breaks it. I was like, I'll answer for you.
On behalf of President Hershiser, he says, I don't know. Right? That good? He nods his head. That translates well.
Orioles always said he hopes he breaks it.
Yep. I think this is really about him and not about me, and I can't wait to watch him pitch, and I think it's absolutely tremendous what he's doing.
And the Ramirez 0 for 2 and a walk. And now 0-2. Joe Nathan on in relief. His 18th save is in what he is pursuing. Dodgers have not had a hit since Puig's leadoff double in the 6th inning. Way outside. So Ramirez and Gonzalez and Kemp. Tigers have won 6 of their last 10. Dodgers and Tigers split 2 games back in April at Dodger Stadium. And the Dodgers are 3 outs away from being swept in this mini series. Dodgers need a couple of base runners just to get serious here in the 9th. On one hop, Kinsler makes a tough play look easy.
You know, they're really excited about Ian Kinsler and the impact he's made on the Tigers since he's been here. Boy, but he's made an impact not only with his bat, but watch this play with the glove. Just so routine for him. He's got great feet, great pacing to what he's doing out there. No panic at all. And then to throw from any angle. He really is like D. Gordon. He has a shortstop arm over there at second base.
Gonzalez robbed of a hit by Rajai Davis in his first at bat. He's flied to right and bounced to second. 1 ball and no strikes. Joe Nathan will hit 40 in November. Began his career with the Giants in '99. Then it was on to Minnesota. 2 years in Texas. And now the veteran right-hander, a free agent signing over the winter. 6'4" and 230. One and two. Nathan with 43 saves. Last year, 37 the year before that. And with the Twins, he was always somewhere between 35 and 45 saves a year. In his career, 29 starts and hasn't had one since 2000. Two out. 93 and upstairs.
Fastball up there. He's had this ever since he was a young man. Now that he's going to turn 40, but he still has the cheese and the slider.
And the Dodgers are down to their final out. Kemp 0 for 3 today. Coming into the game, 7 of his last 9. But that was until he ran into his old nemesis, Max Scherzer. 2 strikeouts and a fly to left. Kemp 0 for 21 against Scherzer. So barring another interleague meeting between the Tigers and the Dodgers years down the road, assuming, of course, Scherzer resigns here, Kemp may never have to see him again. It would just be Kemp's luck if Scherzer signs with a National League team. Dodgers down to their final strike. Tigers have led since the first inning. And this crowd in excess of 36,000 all standing and cheering. Just foul.
For a road trip that started off so well with 3 in Colorado and then up 5-0 yesterday. Going to get on the plane probably with a sour taste in their mouth. Going to have to turn it around once they get home and not kind of mail this into the All-Star break. Really get the fire back when they get back in Dodger Stadium.
Forward the Padres beginning tomorrow night. First pitch 7:10. Clayton Kershaw on the hill. Tigers sweep the 2-game series and beat the Dodgers this afternoon by a score of 4-1. Max Scherzer was simply too tough. Joe Nathan nails down the save, his 18th of the year. For the Tigers, 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors. The Dodgers, 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors. And for Max Scherzer, he improves his record to 11-3. He is also the Lexus player of the game, going 7 innings, giving up a run and 4 hits, struck out 7, walked 2. Really was never significantly tested, except for that home run by Miguel Roa.